Susan Finch with All Volunteer, All Heart for Binky Patrol. And this is the second part of the MrBallen National Bink-a-Thon #2, our second one, the recap. And we got a lot of tips that might be helpful for our chapter leaders for running their Binky Patrol chapters, but it's not just for Binky Patrol. Some of these ideas are great to help you get more volunteers for your organization or events. We have a lot of simple tips in here. We had a lot of fun, some brainstorming. You are welcome to contact us if you have questions about some of these ideas. We'd be happy to help you be more successful in whatever your mission is for your organization. We hope you find the tips enjoyable, the episode entertaining, and we appreciate that you listen. And for all of you that make blankets for us, thank you. For all of you that lead our chapters, thank you. We couldn't do it without you. We hope you enjoyed this episode. And okay, so Caitlin, what would you say to make it better?
We are always trying to grow like our community partners. So I had my interns and all of us, we were reaching out to different community people, but we didn't get a lot of responses back. But then from the volunteer match, we got the Girl Scouts. So I don't know, we're not reaching out to people the correct way or what, but maybe we need to do like form template letters of letting other like community organizations know to work with us. Last year in the past, even again on volunteer match, like we had about 30 teenagers come because somebody had seen the volunteer match link and it was a community organization. So they brought 30 teenagers with them. So this time I was like, okay, why don't we try to reach out nursing homes or schools or stuff like that? And I think we had 2 school clubs respond, but then none of their people showed up to the emails sent them. So I'm kind of wondering, are we formatting this wrong? What's up with that? That it's the volunteer match, or where I at least expect it, but then when we actually do outreach, people don't respond or they don't show up.
So some suggestions for that I've found, and I fell a little behind on that. I was fortunate because it was at our church, so it got to be in the bulletin for 3 weeks. And that netted us 15 volunteers just from that. So that was helpful. Volunteer match got us a lot. Our prior list gets us a bunch. Those lists are gold. And staying in touch with them throughout the year, like updating them afterwards and telling them all, hey, this is how it was. Thanks for being a part of it, type of thing. And they love it because then they want to know, okay, when's the next one? Let me know. And so I'm always trying to I've learned to stay in touch with them at least once a quarter with that list.
We've got a huge listserv as well because we do these events 2 to 3 times a year. So most of our volunteers are spreading the word that way. I'm just kind of, is there any template that we could do so that way it can make it a little bit easier as well? Okay, we don't know you, come join us.
So some other opportunities could be the service organizations, the lions, kiwanis, elks, moose, badgers, whatever, all those groups. The veterans associations, sometimes the ladies auxiliary from those. I've also had hospital auxiliaries that, sometimes they're looking, especially if they're the ones going to be receiving your blankets, the boards that help the organization. If you know who you're giving it to, give them enough notice to say, hey, can you put this in your newsletter? We're going to be giving you the blankets from it. Can you add this to something in case people wanted to come volunteer that day to help? Because you're not tapping into their money. You just want their bodies. Because that sounds what charities get upset about. It's like, ooh, I don't want you going after my volunteers. Well, we're not. We just want them to help us. They can give you all the money. We don't care.
Yeah.
You have to get a hold of it's finding the right people. It's finding the secretaries and the membership people. So it's always looking at their current boards, because if you just send general info, that doesn't work. I've found I have to pick up the phone. Every time I pick up the phone, it works. When I email, it gets lost in their emails. But I've done that, and if you guys can use the Binky email, and the reason why I say that is it doesn't look like at Gmail, because every spammer that comes to me is at Gmail, at Yahoo, at whatever. And to use the branded thing with a signature that has the brand, if you're going to email them, and how to reach you and the website or your chapter page, that's the credibility, because then they can check you guys out ahead of time.
That's probably what it is, in all seriousness, then, especially because my kids helped me do it, so they sent it from their email addresses.
Yeah, so. And that'll be part of it. What were you trying to say, Jeanne?
I was going to say, if you reach out to the high schools, some of the sports teams have had their own events for us, and they'll do it an hour, they'll stay an hour after practice, and you either give them the material or I had one girl last year, this girl Mia, or her sister Julia, she did it for the whole youth field hockey as well as the JV field hockey. And she raised the money. She got out and she gave us like 60 blankets.
Wow.
The kids had. So I mean, if you reach out, probably like athletic departments, if the guidance counselors,
the Key Club has to do a ton of volunteer hours.
The a lot of high schools, they need the service hours. Churches, the kids need them for confirmation, the Catholic church. So that's how I've been able to get my minions the most.
Reach out to those companies too that have volunteer hours. And like my company offers 2 days a year of volunteerism. So people are trying to get their hours in, and I'll have them make blankets, just drop them on my porch. They don't have to come to an event.
Right.
But make a blanket, drop it off on the Binky bin, and you get your credit.
Yeah, we've got money that way too for people like, hey, my organization will donate because I came here, or they'll match me where I work.
Yeah, they match hours. Yeah, we have that right now. Meta is doing stuff for our chapter, and they're making a bunch of blankets. And then we just had Microsoft locally do an event, and they matched it with hours. And they just reached out. They said, oh, we just wanted to find an organization that was 100% volunteer, and you're one of the few, and it's an easy project. And so they were happy to do that. So that's pretty cool too. Those are ways to get the word out. Sometimes your local newspapers will have a way to submit stories months ahead of time and get on their calendar. It could be on their Facebook page. There might be somebody that's in charge of that. Your news stations too. Sometimes they'll have an area that, residents can post things. You might have neighborhood boards and groups on Facebook. I know the Buy Nothing group, if you word it just right, you can find a way, in search of volunteers for. And you can put that in there that, I'm just looking for easy ways to make blankets. And I've also received donations of gorgeous business clothes for battered women's shelters for them to go job hunting and stuff as a result of that. So that was kind of a nice extra connection to help out in the community. Are there any things that I can do, the headquarters can do to support you better ahead of time? Some things that you would need to be more successful?
I think it's mostly something I don't have social media. So if I do it, I'm going to have to make my kids probably be like, go make the Facebook post, but just like a good template, or just
they can copy Jeanne's. They can copy mine. They can copy Jeanne's. I was going to
say, I'm probably just going to go look at you and Jeanne's and then be like, take that, go put that in your community board, or go put that in the next door of your community, because I don't live in Loudon. I live right outside of it. So they're going to have to be the ones who do it.
And maybe come up with a volunteer that is good at that type of thing. One of the ladies that came to my session, she goes, oh, I'm not creative at all. But she was a journalist for a newspaper.
Oh my gosh.
So I picked up this magazine that came, and it was a Meridian, all different businesses, but there's a whole section in it that was on nonprofits. I said, here's your job. You connect with this group, tell them what we're all about, Binky, and get an article in there on Binky Patrol. That's your volunteer. I said, you're now the official communications manager. And I'm going to get her Vistaprint cards, which are how much money, right?
Right.
And I said, the cool thing about volunteering is we all get cool titles, but nobody gets paid,
Yeah, I was good.
And that is the other thing. Caitlin, it is a great idea to ask, your group, maybe they know somebody if they are not that person. And it's just a couple of hours. And it can make a huge difference for an event, for anything that you're looking for. We've had a lot of success with that too. I'm trying to get more. Right now I'm paying somebody to do out of my pocket for Binky to do social posts just because I don't have the time. Right now I'm working enough that I just don't have it. So that's how that goes.
We have an intern, Candace, who's actually really good at it. So I'm going to be like, Candace, we're just going to retool how we do it, but you're going to start social mediaing about it.
Okay. Oh, cool. Good for you. I get mail from Jeanne 5 days a week.
Sorry.
Oh my gosh. It's like a joke. It's like, guess who we got a letter from? Guess.
You love me.
I get these photos texted to me with the number. It's on its way.
Well, because by the time I mail it to you, it takes forever.
I know, and I know you're good for it. It's just pretty funny. I appreciate so much the effort you guys put into this event and its success. It made it so funny. And I loved all the ramp up visits that we do. We'll do another kickoff one way before next year too, so we can start the process. But I think it makes it so much fun that we can all play off of each other. And once I have all your photos, and I'm waiting for the Ballen Foundation to put up the photos they took, I had a videographer all day. I was so spoiled, but I haven't seen anything yet. So I'm just waiting for all that stuff, and then I'll do some kind of big recap post. And if you guys can just put it up on Drive, that would be awesome. And if I need captions, you're going to have to rename those .jpeg, but put whatever, leave the dot whatever, but rename the beginning part with the captions like Betty Jones Susie Wilson. Just so if I need to have a caption, that would be helpful too. That's about it, guys. I'm going to share a big chunk of this with everybody. It's one of those things that events and other nonprofits, it doesn't have to be huge or hard, but it sure is a lot easier after the first one, isn't it?
Yes.
Kathy, you were there for the very first one we did at the Girl Scouts all those years ago. Do you remember that one?
No, we just did this last year, I think was our first time.
Okay, not for us. When we were down there, when I was down there with Carolyn and everybody, the Girl Scouts of Orange County had 1,400 troops at the time. They all did a blanket making day. And then they brought them all for drop off. We had so many pickup trucks filled with blankets. We had 3,000 blankets dropped off that day. It was absolutely crazy. And
reminds me of the Disney Give a Day, Get a Day.
Oh, that was the other night.
Oh my God.
Oh my gosh.
When we signed up for the events and you could put how many openings you wanted, we put 1,000, and my friend and I go, oh my God, they filled up in 15 minutes. What if we do another one? And they filled up in 50, because Binky Patrol had one of the few nonprofits that children 6 and under could do,
right?
To make fleece blankets. So then we said, let's do another 1,000. Well, we never figured they all have to drop them off.
And then you have to deliver them.
Oh yeah. Well, delivery, we were okay, because we also had a huge, what was it? The typhoon that had gone on somewhere that Delta shipped some of them off for us. But we forgot about the drop off. So I went around to all my neighbors, because I live in a court, and said, I'm not a drug dealer, but I want you to know what's going to be happening this day. And it was just like a constant caravan of people dropping off and getting their name on the list that they dropped off. And, we had so many, and, you had everybody signing up to make a blanket, right? And they go, oh, we had so much fun. We made 10. Oh, good Lord. Oh, that was amazing. But, it was a way to bring the community together at all different ages. So it was wonderful.
From that, we ended up with a few out of the 500 that we had up here, people. We probably have 10 still. Wow. But one of our most important is our delivery team we got from that. So our delivery team, that's what they volunteered to do. They're Disney nuts. So they have, ever since, they have been our delivery team, delivering all the blankets everywhere that they need to go.
That was a huge way to bring a lot of new people into what we are and what we do and why we do it.
Yeah, that was great. Something. Now, Kathy, you were around for that, but you opted out of it. You didn't do it, did you?
Yeah. Well, we have a small group. We've got 6 to 10, and generally about 5 or 6 are here in any one month.
Right.
And so we don't have the volunteers or the wherewithal to get out and do that kind of volume.
I don't know where they all came from.
Oh, they were everywhere. Oh my gosh. Oh,
yeah, we had people that drove an hour away because they had 6 kids in their family, and they said we would never be able to go to Disneyland on our own. But this is a way that the whole family came together and got to go. So
but I had cheaters.
To drive an hour.
We had cheaters, and I had to send them away.
Cheaters as in cheating blankets?
Yeah. They would cheat them, or they would buy them, or they would get them at Goodwill. They were trying anything to get around it so they could get their tickets.
That's awful.
And so we had to send people away.
Mickey's watching them.
Yeah, Mickey's watching you. That's so funny. Oh my goodness. The stories we have over all these years. All right, everybody. So next year, this time, we'll be kicking off in June, our 30th year. And it is going to be a big celebration. A bunch of us are getting together that have been in it for 30 years. There are about 6 of us that are still in it, getting together in Southern California for a weekend. I think it's just going to be debauchery and making binkies. I don't know. But we're going to have a good time. And we're going to be celebrating any way we can. Every event, you can just flog that. It's 30 years, 30 years. So it might be 30 and 3. 30 Binky years, 3 MrBallen years. Could be some fun. All right, guys. Well, thanks so much for showing up for this call.
Thank you for all you do, Sue, for all of us.
Oh, you guys make it easy, I'll tell you. Couldn't do it without you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Well, that wraps up our Bink-a-Thon recap and our volunteer tips. We thought you would enjoy this. Go back and listen to all of our episodes, but specifically the recap from this event. That was the previous episode. Find us in all your podcast apps. Go to binkypatrol.show, binkypatrol.org to learn more about our organization. And we hope to connect with you soon, and maybe we'll even see you at a blanket making event. Thanks so much.